All right, so you're moving through all the arthropod tables in the invertebrate group, and in this at this table, you're going to be looking at arachnids. So the arachnids contain the class of arachnids contains many orders. They contain the spiders, ticks, and scorpions, and harvestmen. Harvestmen you probably know as daddy longlegs, and we're going to go through um, some of the major groups here and just give you some examples and talk about their characteristics. So the first thing I want to point out is that all arachnids have some common features. They all have two body sections. They have a cephalothorax and an abdomen. The cephalothorax is kind of like the head and thorax that we saw uh, in the insect group fused into one, and the abdomen is pretty much the same. So here we see a cephalothorax, and that is this whole region up here, and then we see the abdomen down here. Now, typically when you ask somebody how many legs a spider has, they'll say 8, and they're correct. But I want you to realize that spiders have 6 sets of appendages. So 4 of those appendages, four pairs of appendages would be legs. The other 2 are the mouth parts, and we'll talk more about that as we go through this. So the first group we're going to look at is these spiders. The spiders have no antenna. They have 4 pair of legs. They have 1 pair of chelicerae and 1 pair of pedipalps. Those are the mouth parts. They have a simple ocelli for the eyes. They usually have 8 eyes. Sometimes they have fewer, but usually 8. Of course, you know they have a poison apparatus that opens into the fangs, and they can produce silk out of an apparatus that's present at the end of their abdomen. Uh, there's about 2,500 species in North America, and nearly all of them have some venom glands, but most of them aren't dangerous to us. 2 that we know can be pretty dangerous are the black widow and the brown recluse. So it might be a good idea at this point to pause. If you need to get this information down, you can pause the video and write some things down. And when you're done, you can move on. Okay, so here's some pictures of some spiders, and let's just really go through, give you some examples. Up here in the upper left, we have the black widow, and right below it, we have the brown recluse. So we have 2 spiders here that are very venomous and can be dangerous to humans. I love this big picture of a wolf spider because we can see its eyes real clear, and if we take a second and count them, we have 1, 2 over here, we can't really see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's our 8 ocelli, or our 8 eyes in the spider. This spider you'll probably recognize as being a tarantula. And over here we have an orb weaver, and then I love this guy. He's the happy face spider. He's from, I believe, Hawaii. And it's thought that he has that kind of smiling face on his abdomen to deter birds from well, eating him. Moving on, we get to the next order, and that's the mites and the ticks. Again, we have 2 sections, the cephalothorax and abdomen, no antennae. But in this case, the abdomen is broadly joined to the cephalothorax, so it says no pedicel. And we had one in the spiders, and if you go back and look at the spiders, you'll notice that the cephalothorax, where it attaches the abdomen, there's almost like this little, I don't even know how to describe it. It's what we call it a pedicel. So that's where it attaches, but you can see the cephalothorax come in, and there's a little attachment to the abdomen. Again, it might be a good idea to pause here, maybe read the next paragraph, and jot some information down. Here we have some pictures of some mites and ticks. The top 2 pictures up here are ticks. These are our, I believe, deer ticks and a wood tick, and then just some different pictures of mites. But what's really important to look at here is if you look at the cephalothorax and abdomen, there's no kind of indentation where the 2 join. We have that kind of broad connection there. And the last group we're going to talk about here is the scorpions. Again, they have no antenna and no pedicel between the cephalothorax and abdomen. They have 4 pairs of legs on the cephalothorax. One of their pairs of mouth parts, so remember they have 2 appendages for mouth parts, becomes the pincher-like claws that we see. But in that pair of mouth parts is the pedipalps. The abdomen has several broad segments, and it's followed by 5 narrow segments, which are at the end has the large stinger. Again, good place to pause if you need to write some things down and want to read that last paragraph to learn a little bit more about them. And here's 2 pictures, and I just wanted to point out, because this used to confuse me, we talk about 2 body segments, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. But I look at this, man, it looks like there's all kinds of segments here. Well, it's really 2 body sections. So we have the cephalothorax and we have the abdomen, and again, they're not, they don't have that pedestal thing, that narrowing between the two. But then the abdomen is actually divided up into sections, and we can even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's our stinger attached, just like it said in the previous slide. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of information about the class Arachnids. Remember, we're looking at all the Arthropod classes as we go around these tables, and we're seeing some different orders here. We're seeing the spiders and the ticks and mites and the scorpions.